was less than ideal. Welcome in to sad post-game edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast during the postseason. We haven't had to do one of these yet. This is the first. Of course, I am your mayor of the postseason, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. This is the hot tag on this show, aka Patrick Lyons, and we will be hearing from the Thunder Stick. The Thunder Stick, Patrick. The Thunder Stick.
Yeah, Thunder Stick.
Jesse Friedman, also my vice mayor. But you calling him the boomstick isn't the only mistake that made, but it was you were prognosticating what we perhaps were going to see tonight, because the Phillies absolutely busted out the boomstick against Zac Gallen and the Arizona Diamondbacks. It didn't seem to take much. This Diamondbacks offense was fairly stagnant, but Zac Gallen absolutely was not his best tonight.
No. It was all about Zach Wheeler tonight. He was dealing. Zac Gallen was dealing up a couple home run balls, gives up the 5 runs total by the time he ends up coming out. I think there are some positive takeaways from the Diamondbacks. Obviously negative anytime you lose 5-3, but I think that is the positive, right? They got punched in the face, and they were able to come back just a little bit there. They didn't give up. They didn't give in, but I think Citizens Bank Park might have just been a little bit too big for them in that moment, or at least really for Zac Gallen.
At least to start the National League Championship Series. And obviously, like you said, and when I say start, I mean literally from the start. The very first pitch Zac Gallen threw, Kyle Schwarber hits for a dinger, and you got to imagine that it's not really easy to rebound from that particular thing happening. Your first pitch. I mean, Gallen actually, all things considered, I felt like did his best to get things back on track, and he still gave the Diamondbacks some length. It wasn't a case where, like Clayton Kershaw, who he oddly got some advice from, and maybe that's why this went the way it did. But he, Zac Gallen just managed to at least be somewhat effective. But early on, it was those 2 massive home runs by Schwarber, and then the birthday boy himself, Bryce Harper, gave the Phillies a 2-0 lead after 1, and it felt like they were up by a million at that point. It felt like they might as well have been. The way the crowd was reacting, it felt like every hit from that point on was going to be a home run. Like, they really did a lot, I feel like, in that first inning to demoralize the Diamondbacks throughout, that kind of lasted quite a bit. Zach Wheeler absolutely dealt against the Diamondbacks offense that couldn't do much.
It was 5 pitches, right? First pitch home run to Schwarber, center cut, 4-seam fastball. 3 pitches to Trey Turner, kept him quiet there. And then the first pitch to Bryce Homer. That's right, Bryce Homer. Bryce Harper.
Might as well call him Bryce Homer.
Why not? Yeah. And again, center cut fastball, the 4-seamer. And you're right, it was 2-0. It felt like the whole world was against the Diamondbacks. They were going uphill. Yeah. They get another run in the second. They get another run in the third. It's 4-0 at that point. And again, eventually becomes 5-0. But after that, Diamondbacks are able to get 3 runs. There's some positives to take away, but yet it feels like the game was over. And then you kept looking and you go, "Oh, they're still playing."
It's honestly, it's one of those
scoring runs.
It's one of those situations where if it would have happened in a different way, right? Maybe he walks a guy, some guy singles, and then you got Harper hits the home run. They're up 3-0. It was the again, the oh shit, here we go again from Kyle Schwarber because of hitting that home run just right, first pitch. And then Nick Castellanos hits the home run in the second. And at that point, that's really where it felt like, even though it was 3-0, like the lead was much bigger than that. And I imagine something terrible happened in the world at that exact same moment, right? So I was checking Twitter to see if any celebrities had died or if any wars had been started or anything like that. But it's Nick Castellanos. So, but the Phillies, honestly, this is insane because they just, it felt like that lead, even though it wasn't that big, was insurmountable. And the Diamondbacks did a good job, but it took them a long time for them to get their offense going. In between Corbin Carroll hitting a leadoff single and Evan Longoria hitting a leadoff single in the 6th inning, there were 15 batters sat down in a row by Zac Wheeler.
In a row. Yeah, they just weren't putting the ball in play, and I really thought that was going to be the difference today. Yeah. And throughout this series, they have to just put the ball in play to get something to happen. The Phillies defense is a little bit suspect at times. Again, they've got an outfielder playing first base. We know that Castellanos isn't great. The analytics team has done a great job for the Phillies, kind of playing him back and a little bit more towards the gap so he can come in and to his left. That's been a strength for him. They were able to figure that out last offseason. But in general, just put the ball in play, make something happen. We ended up seeing it in a play where Trey Turner had a little dribbler. Now, nothing ended up coming of it later on in the game. Gabby Moreno couldn't really get a hold of it, threw it wide. Next thing you know, Trey Turner's on second base just from a swinging bunt, essentially, right? And so I think the Phillies just have to do a better, the Diamondbacks need to do a better job of that. And the 8 strikeouts from Zach Wheeler tonight really just kind of kept them on their heels. And it really did feel like, man, we can't get anything going. And you also can't hit a 4-run home run with nobody on base, or a 5-run home run even when there is someone on base. And I don't know, I didn't get the sense that the Diamondbacks were doing that and swinging out of their heels, but they were really just kind of kept at bay for the first half of this game.
Your precious Dr. Nighthawk that tries to be unbiased amongst ALLCITY dropped a comment that said if the Phillies win the World Series, she wins $10 instead of $70. So clearly we know where her allegiance lies when it comes to ALLCITY. I am going to tell PHLY. I'm just telling you, I just became friends with them today. They're harassing me already on our Mailbag Monday questions. So I don't know. I mean, they're not you know? They're not the playful banter. I don't know if I can make the wrestling references with them, but Zac Gallen, speaking of wrestling references, the Phillies put him in a bit of a chokehold, right? And they absolutely, like I said, he was able to stay out there. He got some key outs. The defense behind him was very good at times. They came up big to at least keep the game close, right? It did feel like at times that Zac Gallen was going to not just bend, but break. And somehow, they got a big double play to end the inning at one point with bases loaded.
That was huge.
Christian Walker came up came home with a ground ball in the bottom of the 4th that got Marsh out at home plate, and that was great to save a run. But Zac Gallen goes five innings pitched, gives up 8 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 2 walks, 4 K. It seemed evident he didn't have it early on, and I know the Diamondbacks didn't want to spend their bullpen, right? But did they maybe leave him in too long? Did Torey do the opposite of what he's done so far in the playoffs, which has kind of been like immediately jumping to the bullpen when this starter doesn't seem to have it?
I think if it was anybody else, you could say, yeah, you could kind of question it. It's also harder when you're just throwing a single pitch and then there's a run on the board. It's a little bit different, and those pitches are hit by all-time great postseason players right now, some of the best in the game. So it's a little bit different. Really looking forward to catching up with Jesse here later on the show to hear what Torey Lovello had to say. I sort of had this thought that when it was 4-0 after the third, that maybe, and I don't know how this would even go down, maybe this is part of Torey's game planning with the coaches. He talked a little bit about this, before they left for Philadelphia, that, hey, there's a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. I sort of thought that, maybe this wasn't a worst case scenario, but this was a bad scenario. At that point, after the 4th inning, I want to say maybe Gallen was around 50 pitches, maybe less than that. Maybe you almost punt this game and go to the bullpen and say, hey, Zach, you're coming back in game 4. And now all of a sudden you go, all right, maybe we can come back in this game. Even if we can't, we have you back in game 4. I don't know if you have him back in game 7. You can kind of feel that out later on, but maybe it allows you to have your cake and eat it too, or hedge your bet, so to speak. But this one, 5 earned runs, looked it up. It's happened, I believe, about 12 times in his career where he's given up 5 earned runs in a start. 7 of those times come this year in his 34 starts, 20%. 1 out of every 5 starts. That's almost once a month. And he has a start like this. Before 2023, only 6% of his starts had he given up 5 earned runs or more.
And I'm fairly certain that every single one of those starts were on the road, which his road splits versus his home splits this season have been quite the difference, because at home he has been very, very good. And again, if he does get another start, it will be at home if he does, whether it is in game 4 hypothetically or game 5 should the Diamondbacks be able to extend it that far.
5 of 7 were on the road. 5 of 7 were on the road where Zac Gallen gave up 5 earned runs or more. In most of those starts, in 5 of the 7, he went at least 5 innings. Nearly got to 5 innings in another one of those starts. So he was able to do that. He was able to give them, a little bit of length. And you go and look, and we'll get to talk about the bullpen a little bit. There's something to be happy about. Not that happy, because again, you did lose the game, but there's something you could build upon and not go, oh, they were embarrassed. They were laughed out of the building. It was a 5-3 game, and maybe the score isn't as indicative of how close it was. Like you said, it just felt like they were just out of it. They had like no chance. But you look at the score, 5-3. Okay, it was a little bit closer. There were a couple moments there in the, I want to say even the 7th is when it started, 7th, 8th, and 9th, where the tying run was at the plate. Now, again, didn't seem like the D-backs had that much momentum, even though they had scored 3 unanswered runs there at that point. But they did have the opportunity with the tying run at the plate and the go-ahead run on deck. So there is that to say for the Diamondbacks as a whole over these 9 innings.
Yeah. And I mean, you talked about the bullpen. We could absolutely talk about the bullpen. I mean, I did want to say that, the Diamondbacks offense finally woke up there in the 6th inning. Evan Longoria, like you said, hit that single lead off the 6th. Geraldo Perdomo then puts the offense once again on his back and tries to carry the team across the finish line. He hits a 2-run bomb that put the Diamondbacks on the board 5-2. They continue to find ways to get on base against Philly's bullpen, even though it wasn't through hits. They were able to add a sac fly that made it a 5-3 game, and it was very close. I mean, again, the idea here especially was that the bullpen came in after Zac struggled and really helped keep this team once again in the game. They helped keep this team, make this a game that this team could come back and potentially win, right? And that's, hats off to Kyle Nelson specifically, because he seemed like he was getting thrown out there because maybe he won't see any time in high leverage situations. And he looked like night and day compared to Zac Gallen as far as him going out there on the mound. Everybody in this bullpen came out and contributed and kept the Phillies, that had really looked like an out of control monster there for a moment, in check for the remainder of the game, and again gave this team a chance to win.
I don't know if that was that the Phillies, took their foot off the gas, or was that the bullpen, was just kind of able to use that to their advantage. But yeah, you get 3 scoreless innings from Kyle Nelson, Miguel Castro, and Luis Frias, and so like that's nothing to just shake a stick at. Like I think that could have value going forward. Whereas like on the flip side, the Phillies did have to use Jose Alvarado and Craig Kimbrell for 2 1/3 innings. Yeah. And so, that's not all of their bullpen, but you were able to get those guys. And I think that has a lot of value. There was an opportunity there where I think it might've been Trey Turner on second base and Miguel Castro on the hill when they made the switch from Kyle Nelson to Miguel Castro. And Castro, runners are 8 for 8 stolen bases and stolen base opportunities against Miguel Castro, but yet doesn't end up taking third base there. So that again, that could have been an opportunity. Ball in the dirt, gets by Moreno, you score another run, but that didn't happen. Zac Gallen, 2 wild pitches tonight in the same inning. I know he had 8 over the course of this year. That was the most in any season. But again, just one of those things, just being a little bit off. And if this series is going to be about Zac Gallen and Merrill Kelly winning, all 4 of their starts, maybe you can get a win out of somebody else. And now you probably are going to have to. I mean, you are going to have to. I don't know. I don't think that we're going to see Zac Gallen in Game 4. I think it's going to be Game 5. Yeah. Unless the Phillies take the first 3 games, I don't think that's going to happen. But nevertheless, they're going to have to win a game with Brandon Pfaadt, and they very well could at home. And then that Game 4, as we talked about it in the pregame, make sure you're listening to that on the PHNX Diamondbacks podcast feed, or even watch it live on the PHNX Sports channel on YouTube. But we talked about the fact that Taijuan Walker's going in Game 4, so that might be a bullpen game for the Diamondbacks, but that's kind of a crapshoot regardless.
Yeah, it's revenge against
revenge
Taijuan
for blowing the 2017 postseason.
That's right. we never forget. Also, I know that the Rockies lost 100 games, but I don't like you coming for my job. So I appreciate the plugs. I appreciate your excellent work, but let's just relax a little bit. All right. You're impressing. Saul's here. He can hear you. There's a lot going on.
Do you have anything that I might take to relax, before I go to bed?
I would on certain nights, but on a night like this, we celebrate even the losses. I mean, we get over the losses at least with our friends from Four Peaks. I mean, it's a great way to do that. Of course, it's perfect tailgate for over 25 years here in the Valley. It is the official craft beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So make sure to check out all the wonderful beers they have. I get asked often if I really this is really my beer. And that's the part that doesn't help this thing that one of my friends, my friend feels like I won the lottery and that PHNX is like this facade. Like I just hired a bunch of people just to like, as like some sort of tax break or shelter, like
shell corporation.
Shell corporation to protect myself from people knowing that I won the lottery. And he says that the evidence is the fact that like all of the sponsors are things that I actually use in real life. So it doesn't help that my favorite beer, of course, is the official beer of this show and the official beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. But it's because they have all sorts of wonderful beers, and you can check out Four Peaks location. Their 8th Street pub is a great place to go have chicken tendies and enjoy beers and watch sports. And now is the time of year to do that. Also, they will have pumpkin porter in their draft lines over there at the 8th Street pub. So do not miss out on pumpkin porter season. Of course, you can visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite brewery tours and events that they have going on. Stein Holding, Oktoberfest, haunted brewery tours, all of that stuff. It's all right around the corner. Check out at Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly.
And also remember that Golden Lager is the official beer of the sport of baseball. It's the
official beer of the sport of baseball. No other beer in a cup looks as perfect, as golden, as clear, as just as like a beer commercial for baseball as the Golden Lager. Also, no, go ahead. What?
No, I was just gonna say, for trademark purposes, baseball is probably spelled as 2 words. Again, just in case for legal purposes.
There's 2 A's as well, but
baseball.
That's all in the first part.
Okay, that's good. Good. Baseball.
That's
so
right.
It's actually 4 A's.
Also, I'm hungry. I know you're hungry.
Yes.
We would love to have some Spaghetti Shack right now, because Spaghetti Shack is the official food of hungry college kids in Tempe, because it is an ASU alumni operated restaurant that serves a menu starring spaghetti, meatballs, garlic bread, and a few other fan favorites. It is wholesome, it is quality, it is affordable food, and it's just like home. So of course it's a great place for those anybody. Honestly, you don't even have to be a college student in order to check out their delicious food, but they are a community focused restaurant. It's a to-go concept, so make sure you go get yours to go and bring it home. Of course, they had their brand new location ASU just open up. They have all sorts of great specials, so do not miss out on any of their Valley locations, but specifically check out the one in Tempe and Queen Creek. So do not miss out on Spaghetti Shack. We thank you guys for being here right now.
Happy Meatball Monday too for everybody else.
Happy Meatball Monday. Yes, it is Meatball Monday.
Yes, happy Meatball Monday.
It's also another kind of Monday, by the way. But before we get there, PHNX Sports YouTube channel, we thank you guys for being here. Those of you that showed up after the loss, you're the real MVPs of this show. You're the real King Snakes. But of course, make sure to subscribe to that channel. Do as Gabby says, drop a like. We always appreciate that. Make sure you sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our wonderful shows on our network go live. If you're listening on the audio podcasting side, make sure to subscribe there as well. Leave us a review. We always appreciate that feedback. And of course, before we go on, I know the times we don't give out our King Snake, but tonight, our guy, Jerry P, put the offense on his back. He tried to bring it home for us. He went 1 for 3 with that home run and 2 RBI. Not exactly the guy that you would expect to be showing the power that he has so far in the postseason, but absolutely key to getting the offense started at times, and he tried to do it tonight again.
Yeah, looked great. His homer, 345 feet to right field. Would have donged in 20 out of 30 ballparks. Chase Field,
not one of them.
Was not one of them.
Oh, Chase Field.
That was grinding some gears on the East Coast. Of like, wait a minute, that wouldn't have been a homer in his home ballpark.
Yeah.
Too bad, so sad. That's just how it goes. Perdomo Origato.
Yeah.
Geraldo Robato.
You're going to continue to do that, and I will appreciate it. But as long as I can't get him and Max by each other, because him and Max together, they're absolute trouble. But
back-to-back games with home runs for Perdomo.
That's right.
First time in his career. I went back, looked at his regular season record. Nope, never done it before.
He's not a power guy. That's what I'm saying. He's getting it done.
Power.
Yep,
Postseason power.
Well, the Diamondbacks dropped this game, and of course, not plenty of baseball left to play. Not in a position to panic at all.
No.
Not in a position to worry. And again, the big win here is if the Diamondbacks can somehow figure out to take game 2. And with Merrill Kelly on the mound, you kind of like their chances in doing that. But let's take a look at the updated postseason bracket, because the Rangers they're already putting it to the Houston Astros. Ooh. So again, here we got to do something to make sure that we get these 2 100-loss teams from 2 seasons ago to play each other in the World Series. That's the ultimate goal here.
No one wants to see a Cole Hamels World Series of Phillies and Rangers. Like,
not even a little bit.
Is that the,
not even a little bit? That's absolutely correct.
Is that the immaculate grid? When you think about Rangers and Phillies, like those two guys? Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, probably. The idea here
Jorge
is
Alfaro.
I like the way that those two teams did it, because the Diamondbacks somehow did it just through their farm system.
Yeah.
And trades and savvy trades. And meanwhile, the Rangers did it through $500 million that they spent just a few seasons ago. But I'm not going to dwell on that, nor am I ready to really talk about the Rangers, because we have our hands full right now with these Philadelphia Phillies. So, of course, we're sad about the loss, but a good way to get over a loss is by doing what we do on Monday. Of course, every year is our year. Every month on this show, Hispanic Heritage Month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, every month. And we don't start it on the 15th. We start on the 1st and we go through the end of the month. Every month on this show is Black History Month. Every month on this show is Women's History Month. Every month on this show, of course, Black Women's History Month. It's also every week on this show is Shark Week. Every day is Earth Day. And every Monday, we go to the mailbag. Megaran, hit it.
My mailbox. Always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox. And then once in a while, there's a letter that makes me go, wow, wow, my mailbox.
I told you I wasn't going to forget about Mailbag Monday. I don't care. It's postseason, it's pregame, it's postgame. We're going to do Mailbag Monday. We've not missed one in the existence of Mailbag Monday, and we're not going to start today. We're not letting a loss bring us down, but we don't have a lot of Mailbag Monday questions, and we do have to get out of here as soon as Jesse arrives. But let's take a look at some of these, because I know some of these is how some of you are feeling. Our pal Mujin, Mujin_AZ on Twitter said, do we even belong here? LMAO. Now, this question was sent very early in the game, but I will say that's loser talk. And I don't mean to attack you, Mujin, but we absolutely belong here. The Arizona Diamondbacks swept the Brewers. They swept the Dodgers. This wasn't a fluke. They didn't get here by the skin of their teeth. They got here through excellent team play. And let's be honest, as we move on and advance in the postseason, you're going to face tougher and tougher opponents. Did the Diamondbacks have any business with the way they played at times this season being this good in the postseason? No, they don't. But they've been playing excellent baseball, and that's the way that they got here, and that's what's fun about the postseason. If you can find a way after 162 games to have won enough to be in the postseason, anything can happen.
As soon as the third wild card was introduced, you knew there was going to be those Cinderella teams. It's just like with March Madness. Like, there's going to be years in which, and I think it was even projected that, there's going to be a couple seasons where there's like an 84-win team. Yep. And you go, were the Diamondbacks that good? Well, they actually really were in the first half of the season.
They absolutely
were. There are those pieces that are there that you go, and that's kind of the point, is to say, you know what, you might not have been able to really string it together for 162, but there are enough of those positive elements. And again, baseball wants to have more games, a longer postseason, more postseason games, obviously, then that's going to open up. So, look, they're playing by the rules. That's what it is. They're going out there and playing the game, and I know that might not be as traditional as I think maybe some baseball fans like to think of it. I know there's not too many people that were alive in 1968, like before there was the League Championship Series. But 1968 and before, it was just, if you won the National League, you're going to the World Series. If you won the American League, you're going to the World Series. The playoffs have evolved over time where, okay, now we got a League Championship Series. Now we have a Division Series. Now we have a whole wild card round. And so the Diamondbacks are here. Yeah, they've earned it.
And I know people will say, hey, it's about money. It's about having more games. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah. But don't you like your team being in there? I know right now there's certain fans of certain teams that are not in the playoffs any longer that don't like the way the format is set up.
Like who? Like
the effing Bravos.
Oh,
you know what? Fucking Bravos. I'm going to say it. Also, the fucking Dodgers. Neither of those teams, both of those teams, they would love. I'll get them. I got my wallet out. It's in here somewhere. You get the jar ready. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm just going to say it. Damn it. This is something that this team should be proud of, even if this series doesn't go our way. I'm just going to, I got a 5. There's a 5. I got some more curses in me. But that's good for now. But
we're going to leave the lid off
It's probably for the best. Yeah, I got 20s in my wallet.
If you're only listening to this as a podcast, you're really missing out on the visuals here.
Yeah, we got our jars for swears up here. All of that money is going to charity after, I don't know, we fill it up because it won't take long for me.
We?
But you still owe me $4 from some text messages early today.
Don't count,
I'm absolutely counting them. All curse words aimed in my direction now count. But I mean, again, I'm just the good Dr. Nighthawk says, I'm jealous my team isn't in it. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. So really, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of baseball left to play. I know tonight it was a terrible start, right? It was as bad as it could be, but that was just the start. The way they fought back was admirable. The way they made this an actual game was admirable. And hopefully that I know I'm not a big moral victory guy, but hopefully at least it makes them believe that they can win. They kept this game close. It was within 2 runs. I mean, if you looked at this outcome, after the game, you would say, hey, it's not a terrible loss by any stretch of the imagination, right? So, but at the same time, I don't want to, again, I feel like it's loser talk when you start saying like, hey, this wasn't that bad of a loss. We should be happy about it. We shouldn't be happy about it. People should be upset. This team was playing well, and now here they are, a game back. But again, the positives is that there's a lot of baseball left, and that winning game 2 completely changes how the outcome of this series could look.
If the Phillies kept piling on there, right, in first, second, third, Gallen's not able to get out with that inning-ending double play, which was so critical there in the bottom of the third, where they were already down 3-0. And it's like if they would have lost 7-0, you go, oh man, that was really bad. Wait, we got to flush it. That's baseball.
Even 5-0, right? Even 5-0 isn't great. The fact that the offense was able to muster something up and come back and again make it a game where it felt like they're in the 9th inning. They had a chance of winning it with 1 on, or at least tying it with 1 on. It makes it builds that confidence towards the next game.
You lost the game because the Phillies scored 5, Diamondbacks only scored 3, and then you go, okay, obviously being literal, and then beyond that you go, well, did we also just lost? Like they were better than us, but by how much? And you feel good going into tomorrow's start. I don't know how much we need to make of the fact that Corbin Carroll gets the leadoff hit. He's on first base and he stays there. And the broadcast is really talking about the fact that he's just there. Why isn't he stealing? Why isn't he going? Did he get a couple good secondary jumps? The only thing I kept coming back to, and perhaps Tori was asked that. We'll find out here soon. We'll get the feedback from Jesse. Ketel Marte, Tommy Pham, and Christian Walker all had an OPS north of 1,300 against Zach Wheeler. You don't want to take the bat out of their hands. JT Realmuto was very good behind the plate defensively. So, and those guys put the ball in play. Marte, 2 strikeouts in 12 plate appearances. Pham, 2 strikeouts in 15 plate appearances. Walker a little bit more so, 4 Ks in 17 plate appearances. He's the one guy that didn't actually strike out. Yeah. So you kind of understand that and say, hey, you know what? Hold on, let's see if we can get a bit of action going on there. Put a little pressure, make Wheeler have to throw some pitches or throw some balls over to first base. And kind of get in his head. It didn't work. I don't know that it backfired, but I'm curious if that's kind of what Tori's thinking was in not giving Corbin Carroll the green light to go.
Here's the thing: I think Diamondbacks should hold their head high. I think that they still have a lot of baseball left to play. And again, even if they don't win game 2, technically that's how home field advantage is supposed to go. And
sure.
It really is more about if they can't find a way to win game 2 and they come back. And can't figure it out. But again, I think I'm sure these Philly fans are in here saying that if loser talk, and it might be, but honestly, the Diamondbacks do have a lot to be proud of, regardless of how this series goes, and I think the fans do. So I don't think that fans should start questioning if they belong here. What else we got?
Go to that mailbag.
Next question comes from Gabriel. Gabriel said, "Will the pay never end?"
Is that just rhetorical?
I don't know.
And I don't see a question mark, so maybe it's actually more of a statement.
Yeah,
could it be?
The pain? I don't know. I don't know if it will.
When was the last time there was any pain?
Yeah.
I was thinking how it would be nice to say oh hey, it's the first time they lost in October, but they lost in the regular season, so that's not exactly true. But it's the first time in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn good. You definitely can't win them all. I think there's only 5 instances Actually, no, I don't even think so. I think it might have only been like the Reds in the 70s that won all 7 games. Back when it was best of 5 in the NLCS, and then the World Series, obviously best of 7. So they ran the table, but otherwise you don't really run the table that much when you get to the postseason.
Benjamin with a great point. He says D-backs will have pitching disadvantages in games 3 and 4. They will need game 2 to have a chance. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I honestly think that, they do need game 2 in order to have a chance in this series, just as far as not letting the, kind of Phillies in the series do what they did in this game, right? Build up a lead that seems so insurmountable that the Diamondbacks can't come back. And honestly, that's what the Diamondbacks have been doing so far to their opponents in the playoffs. So, it's a bit of a taste of their own medicine as far as going up early and being able to just hold on to that lead throughout the game. But, again, the Diamondbacks need to figure out a way to get their offense going, and it definitely can't start in the 6th inning for sure. What else we got here? Next question comes from Piece of Yoshi. Most valuable fam Stan. He says, is it acceptable to sing Stott's walk-up song, or is that a no-go?
I would say it's definitely not
the
A-okay.
answer is no.
It's not A-okay.
It's not A-okay.
Just to use a couple letters. It's not A-okay.
Well, you got one of those situations with Charlie Blackmon and for the Rockies, right, with his song, and it's like,
oh, absolutely.
Trust me, I want to join in on that, but I can't. I
No?
can't. No.
You don't want to lose your love tonight?
See, look you're making me want to do it right now. That's not fair. That's
Josie's on a vacation far away.
Okay, that's enough.
Did you know that? Okay.
I've had it with the rest of ALLCITY.
That one's okay.
No, I have really.
Who dislikes Charlie Blackmon though?
This guy right here, a guy
No,
that's
you
had to
don't.
watch
My
my
mom
team
hates
play
Wow.
him
No, you.
in the
Really?
NL
Least favorite
West
player in the
Who hates
league
Charlie
for a while.
Blackmon?
It's my mom's least favorite player in baseball.
He's an American sweetheart.
Yeah,
He
he really is.
Beard, fly fishing, mullet.
Yeah, that's Speaking of being done with ALLCITY, we got some questions from PHLY Phillies. I think they sent us a question. Is that right? Are you worried at the rate the Phillies are murdering baseballs? Okay, we can do it. Does Elon still let us block on X, or was that taken away from us? Can we block them?
You've murdered.
Oh, we got Tyler, their producer, also here. He has Zac Gallen considered not throwing flat fastballs over the heart of the plate. No, I don't think he considered that, Tyler. I don't think at any point during his outing tonight did he consider that. Not one bit. LC Goon Squad, I know where you're from. So he says Gallen was shell-shocked. He really was. I mean, this is the one concerning part about this, again, if you're talking about like team morale or confidence, is that it's Zac Gallen, right? You
sure,
it's your ace. You want to see him go out there and dominate. I think a big part of the Diamondbacks' chances are going to have a lot to do with how Merrill Kelly can bounce back. And Merrill Kelly has been very good for this team in as far as bouncing back from losses and stuff like that. But of course, they need him. They need a big one.
There are some guys that are really good at that, right? And your team just lost a couple in a row, and you go, nah, that's not gonna happen. Whatever that thing is, you don't necessarily even have to go out there and have a no-hit type performance. You don't even have to be Zac Gallen. You just beat the other guy's starting pitcher, and then again, you've got that chutzpah that just inspires your entire team, and they go out and win. Doesn't even have to be by a blowout. It's just you win that ball game. You snap that streak, and you go back home to Phoenix and Chase Field, Sedona Red everywhere in the ballpark. It's 1-1. Now you've got home field advantage. That's what Merrill Kelly is going to try to do tomorrow night.
I love it. Nate Cleveland in the chat asked, do we have a song? Of course, it's Sexy Red, Ski-Yee. We've established that, right? Ski-Yee? Ski-Yee to you tonight?
Some people on the set, maybe even 2 people on the set, may even be trying to work on a kind of a spoof version, a D-backs version of Sexy Red Ski-Yee. Sedona E-Reds.
It may be your next favorite song next to the Walker song, but the Diamondbacks got to hold up their end of the bargain, and they gotta take care of business in order for us to do that for them. But we'll see what happens. I do know that we have some videos coming in from Jesse. Do we have those ready yet, Damon? No, we do not. We'll get those ready for you guys here in a little bit.
Good tease.
Yeah, just letting
Great
you know.
Teaser on
yeah,
that.
Jesse's videos are coming. Jesse will be joining us soon. But I mean, overall, again, this particular game, I guess my question is, and I like to ask you because Jesse is always very reasonable, right? But he still has an attachment to this team. He has a vested interest, if you will. He has much like myself, he has ulterior motives when it comes to this team's success impacting us personally. Now, what are your thoughts as an outsider? Like, do you think that this looks very bad for the Diamondbacks? Do you think that this is just chapter one in this little story of the NLCS? What are your thoughts on this?
I don't think this looks that dire. I mean, yeah, obviously it's a letdown. It's a disappointment because of how it happens, and you're able to scratch back, but it's not very sexy, right? Yeah. It's just, all right, it's 5-3. You only lost by 2 runs. Yeah. Seems like it was a close game. Again, tying run was at the plate numerous times, but first pitch gone. Woo! 4 pitches later, another one for the birthday boy, Bryce Harper. Now just one of 4 players to homer in the postseason on their birthday. Evan Longoria actually did it, believe it or not, when he was with the Rays back in 2013. Correct. Colton Wong, the most recent one to do it with the Cardinals in 2015, and the first one, Willie Aikens, back on October 14th, 1984 for the Kansas City Royals. So you go, wow, okay, so this is a continuation of everything Philadelphia was able to do in games 3 and 4 against Atlanta. Wow, there's just no way to win at this ballpark that we talked about pregame. Everyone's talked about, 26-11, now 27-11 at Citizens Bank Ballpark that the Phillies have been 11-2 at since the beginning of last postseason. This is just a place that's just unsurmountable, and yet the Diamondbacks, after that 6th inning, it's 3-0. Yep. They were able to do that, and so I think that has a lot of value. So I don't think this is, wow, okay, they got punched in the face, and we know who they really are. We don't know. Yeah. It could continue to go bad. Game 2 could be a loss, and you kind of go from there, and so be it. But until that happens, it's just, all right, you lost 5-3. Your best pitcher was on the mound. I think Zach Wheeler is the Phillies' best pitcher. Aaron Nola's had, some more struggles in the postseason and even during this year in general.
And Merrill Kelly, not to cut you off, but Merrill Kelly arguably has been the Diamondbacks' best pitcher this season. I mean, I know Zac Gallen had all of the Cy Young talk, but Merrill Kelly was more consistent. He just had some injuries and some cramping issues and things like that limited, his innings pitched and such. But for the most part, I do feel like, it's a little different having Merrill Kelly go out there for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and you don't, and so you say, hey, all the money's on Zac Gallen to do it. Oh no, he failed. The Diamondbacks are screwed. Well, there's a lot of money on Ranger Suarez to go out there and do it in game 3. Phillies are going to be favorites, I think, even on the road with Brandon Pfaadt on the hill. And what if Suarez just doesn't have a great game? He could have a good game, but if Pfaadt's a little bit better and you're able to get to that bullpen, who will have a day off on Wednesday, no matter how much you're going to need them in game 2 with Merrill Kelly on the bump, you go, okay, you can take one there in game 3 where maybe you're not supposed to. And then game 4, I think, is going to be a crapshoot. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of D-backs fans filling up Chase Field, with some not so nice things to say about Taijuan Walker for the Phillies. So, anything can really happen. And even if you say, oh man, the Phillies got to Zac Gallen. Gallen will pitch again. It will be at Chase Field at home. As you said, troubles on the road. Just a quick look at his other starts this year where he gave up 5 earned runs. He immediately turned around and pitched really well. Now, on opening day, gave up 5 runs and 4 2/3 innings pitched. Next start, 6 innings, gave up 4. That was at San Diego. And then he reeled off 4 consecutive starts where he didn't give up a single run to finish out the rest of the month of April. He just kind of continues to do that. When he gives up 5 runs, he immediately turns around and he shoves. And so, again, that is something positive to say. If you can at least get to game 5, you're going to win that one as well. That's at least 2 wins, and that might even be just a worst-case scenario.
My favorite cartoon dog, Brian Griffin, said Phillies left a ton. Can we get that comment back? It went away at me. Phillies left a ton of runners stranded. This game could have easily been a giant blowout, but somehow the D-backs were right there. It was a nail biter. And I think, again, the biggest thing here is that there's a lot of baseball left to play, and really the Diamondbacks don't need to go out there. I mean, obviously it's hard. It's a Phillies team that has been a very good team. They just beat the best team in baseball. The Diamondbacks somehow beat the second best team in baseball. Like, it's just weird that these 2 teams are here, but both are good. Both deserve to be here. And I think tonight, the big problem for the Diamondbacks, obviously, was Zac Gallen. And the Phillies should be applauded for their approach against Zac Gallen. Yeah. And here we have some video from the clubhouse on Zac Gallen on how the Phillies attacked him tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it seemed like their plan was to be super aggressive. They got some fastballs in locations where they could handle them. I can't really be too mad at their approach. Just got to execute the pitch just a little bit better.
After that second home run, is that what you guys talked about?
Yeah, we're just like they're ambushing. I kind of had a feeling Schwarber was going to swing first pitch of the game. Pitch wasn't. Pulled it, cut it a little bit, and pulled it in the middle of the play, was trying to be away. So who knows? Maybe if that pitch is executed, maybe it's a fly out or whatever. He just kind of came out. I think just to kind of slow things down. I wasn't really shocked at, like I said, their approach. Just got to execute a little bit better.
So again, he didn't have his best stuff tonight.
Sharp.
Yeah,
he looked disappointed, but he didn't look distraught. Of like, I've lost the series for us. We are down in such a huge hole. He's disappointed, but not distraught. And so, again, that can be one of the positives to take away. That's the great thing with baseball. A little less so in the postseason because there are off days, but they're gonna have a chance to go out and play another game. And in less than 24 hours, we could be sitting here. It's 1-1, home field advantage because you got 3 more in a row in Phoenix, and it's like totally changed. So you just have to sit with it a little bit, flush it, and go forward. So don't be too upset with the result tonight. There's still a lot more baseball left.
Absolutely. And Gallen had some more on his pitch selection, and I'm not exactly sure. He said he thought the pitch location with the Castellanos home run was just fine. He just said that they were looking at his metrics and they knew what he was going to throw.
Yeah.
No, even the Castellanos, I think the location was fine. I think just, we were looking at some metrics. I think it's a pitch that kind of came out of my hand with a little less, hop, I guess, or, whatever on it. So, maybe just give him a chance to kind of stay through it. But, yeah, I would say the Schwarber and the Harper one, I would take back location. But, it is what it is.
Is that just the type of thing where they might hit fastballs really well, but you can never just not throw your fastball at all?
Yeah, that's the thing. You can, you can try and pitch around it, but, I think maybe just being a little bit more cognizant of, getting on the edges as opposed to maybe the thirds or halves or whatever. So, yeah.
Torrey was asked during the post-game presser, did you see anything different from Zac in his response to getting jumped on early today compared to the start in Milwaukee? Torrey said, they kind of overlapped. I thought when he gave up 2 runs early that he was going to find some rhythm. That's what I kept looking for. At times I was seeing that, but I think they overlapped a little bit, and I know what Zac is capable of doing.
Yeah.
And so, end quote. And, just kind of didn't get that. And it was like, Castellanos home run. That kind of adds to that a little bit. And it was, again, 5 innings, 5 earned runs. You go, should you have done something earlier? But again, we're talking about Zac Gallen. And there's other guys out there that when they give up 5 earned runs, it's after 2 innings. It's after 3 innings. And you go, take them out, because if you leave them in for 5, it's going to be 7 runs, 10 runs, 12 runs, whatever, during the regular season. That's kind of how it goes. But Zac Gallen, kind of a different breed. You're able to get a length out of him. And so, again, that can be a positive takeaway. You'd rather have taken away a win, but that is a positive takeaway.
Yeah. I'll say also that, Torrey commented after the game also on Philly's approach. And, one thing that was evident was that they were ready to jump all over the fastball.
Yep.
And Zac Gallen's fastball was absolutely not locating, right? So he was throwing them right down the middle. It's like our question from our guy Tyler for PHLY said. He really was throwing flat fastballs right down the middle. He corrected it, and I think that's why he was able to at least get some outs and provide them with something competitive over a few innings. But, it also felt like for a period of time there, like he'd given up so much early on that the Diamondbacks were just kind of letting him, go out there regardless of the results and try to save their bullpen to not go out there and have to have a bullpen game after 2 innings.
Yeah, Torrey said they really got into a rhythm talking about the Phillies offense. I feel like there were points in time that he was making pitches referring to Zac Gallen, and it was going to start like a Zac Gallen outing, but that never really happened. It was just a big grind for him the whole day. So, he's grinding away, but he wasn't atrocious. He just it was kind of bad.
Yeah.
Right? And that happens, but not awful, because you weren't going to necessarily get much better from the bullpen if you were going to go ahead and use them and use up some of those bullets. So it's kind of a balance, and sure, maybe you could be a little bit critical of that, but if he had gone to the bullpen, you say, those early guys coming out of the pen could have gotten tagged, or those guys coming out late, you need more than just 3 outs from Luis Frias and now all of a sudden they're getting a run there, and then it's a 7-3 loss because the bullpen maybe gave up more than Zac Gallen did in the 4th and 5th.
Ultimately, it doesn't, especially talking about pulling Gallen out earlier. I mean, once he gave up the 4 runs, the offense, I mean, who knows what would have happened if it was closer, but the offense wasn't able to score more than 3. So you could say he left him in there too long, but at the end of the day, the offense not showing up tonight, Zach Wheeler being able to absolutely hold them in check was really what set this game apart. I mean, the bullpen and everybody did a nice job. Even Gallen did an okay job of bouncing back and, like I said, being effective at times. But like Tori said, he wasn't able to get in that groove. And here's what Tori had to say about the Phillies jumping all over him and ambushing Zac Gallen. No, you don't have that one yet?
All right. Tell me this. Let's pick up the vibe here a little bit. How happy are you that when you saw the Kelce brothers today, you didn't see any significant others with the Kelce brothers?
Bro, you're barking up the wrong tree when it comes to that. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, so you're not going to get me to bite on that.
Oh, that's what you thought I was talking about?
No, but I did. I knew. I had a feeling. There's certain things that when they were happening, I was like, oh, it's Bryce Harper's birthday.
I know.
And you're like, oh, both Kelce brothers are going to be in the house, and they're going to have beers. I imagine. Yeah, they have beers. Yep, of course. Looks like a goddamn beer commercial up there. So yeah, no, there's a lot of things that didn't feel like this game was going in the Diamondbacks' direction. And then we had the start. We had, it's weird. And again, it probably is loser talk to say it's weird that this game still got as close as it did because early on it felt like it was going to be a 15-run blowout by the Phillies. So, I mean, again, I think that would have absolutely ruined the Diamondbacks' confidence for this series. So the fact that they were able to keep it close and again have a chance to tie it up there late is at least what it does feel like a little bit of a victory, right?
Moral victory, yeah. There was,
and as a fan, it's at least you can be a little bit happier than getting blown out.
Oh, totally. Yeah, there was a good line from Ron Darling during the game where he said that Citizens Bank Park, quote, the only ballpark that doesn't need a seat. Okay, that's a good line. That actually could be on a PHLY shirt, Eric. If you're listening to this, D-Line Co. I mean, that's pretty good. I definitely like that. The other thing with not stealing early on there with Corbin Carroll, you say, you don't want to take the bats out of those guys' hands. Zach Wheeler had only given up 3 stolen bases all season long, 7 attempts, which means 4 were caught stealing when Zach Wheeler was on the hill. Third fewest of the 44 qualified pitchers in baseball this year. No one had less stolen bases against him. Kyle Bradish of the Baltimore Orioles only had 3. Zach Wheeler only had 3. And then third in MLB, Zac Gallen with only 5 stolen bases allowed, which ultimately, and maybe this is really the big bummer, it's ultimately why we didn't get a taco, because no one stole a base today.
Yeah.
That's kind of the big takeaway.
That's what the announcers were so impatient about. They just wanted to get that out of the way early. They wanted
pretty much
taco.
They were tired of seeing the Pete Davidson commercials. Yeah. So they were just like,
we're all
what?
tired of seeing the Pete Davidson commercials.
He was Saturday Night Live. I was like, he was just on the show. What are we doing here?
He did a pretty good job. At
He's
least
all right.
In the intro.
I actually like him.
I don't want to go into him. I want to go into Tori on the Phillies' approach and again how they ambushed Zac Gallen.
I think they just ambushed him. I think they came out ready to jump on his fastball. There's no mystery that Zach fills up the zone. He's got an aggressive fastball and aggressive mindset, and they just counterpunched him. I think I don't think he was trying to throw the pitches where they landed. I haven't had a chance to look at them, but I know when Zach gets squared up, it's usually a couple-inch mistake. He's that good at hitting lines when he's trying to throw pitches in certain spots. I think they just ambushed a couple of mistakes and never really got into a rhythm. I felt like there were points in time that he was making pitches and was going to start to take a Zac Gallen type of start to look like a Zac Gallen outing, but it never really happened. And it was just a big grind for him the whole day.
I think Dr. Nighthawk is going back and forth between us and the PHLY chat. And I think she just exposed herself. She said PHNX feeling confident was over there. They said they played poorly and have confidence when they play their game. They have hit. You know what? You're a traitor. You're a traitor. We see how this works.
That's real narc behavior.
Was that supposed to be for them?
I think that was supposed to be for them. I think we got her. I think we caught her. I think we caught you.
Wow.
I see how it is. Yeah. Also, yes, to our new friends from Philadelphia, Anthony and Tom. Elise is a known baseball GM. We don't know which baseball GM she is, but she's definitely using one of her burner accounts to participate in the chat. I'm worried about Tori drinking that Gatorade that's in front of him too. Is that the reason why they all look so yellow in these videos?
I mean, it might be. I don't know if it was radioactive. I know on the East Coast. How far is Philadelphia from 3 Mile Island? I mean, I know that was in Pennsylvania.
I don't know.
So is that, I don't want to say anything litigious about the makers of said bottle. And what actually goes in it, but I wouldn't drink that, Tori.
No, not at all.
Don't do that.
Definitely not. But Tori had more on Zac Wheeler, who deserves all the credit because this man was incredible tonight for the Philadelphia Phillies, and he absolutely kept the Diamondbacks in check. As a matter of fact, it felt like the only time when they really could do anything there was once he left the game. And here's what Tori had to say about Wheeler.
His stuff, he came out crisp, and it came out hot, and he had everything moving in a really positive direction. I just felt like if we were going to weather the storm, we were going to find ourselves in this ball game at some point. The deficit just became too large at 5. They got a very strong bullpen, we know that. But I think it was power stuff. It's just like, get up and go, here it comes. Whether it was 2 or 4 seam, it was just really, really aggressive stuff. This fastball didn't really get to much secondary stuff from what I can remember. He just beat us with his best pitch.
You were okay with the quality of the at-bats?
At times it was. I felt like we hit a couple balls hard, but you got it going on today. We got to find a way to get into that a little bit. I think good teams can beat really good pitching on a day where a starting pitcher in postseason feels it, but he had it going today.
He really did. He really did. I mean, I think the way that the Diamondbacks approached attacking their bullpen just showed that Wheeler deserves the credit for that, because as much as you want to blame the Diamondbacks offense for not being able to get things going, it's because Wheeler was very, very good on the mound. Yes, Elizabeth, the Gatorade does look radioactive. What did you say? It also could be what?
A lava lamp, perhaps?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
here's something too. We talked about, Gallen coming back on short rest. I don't think that's going to happen now. Had they done something a little bit earlier in the game, perhaps something like that could have gone down. Wheeler only threw 81 pitches. Is he coming back for game 4? Would they possibly do something like that? Maybe if they were up 3-0? I don't know.
I don't think they have the same pitching issues that we do, though. I mean, really, realistically, you need 4 starters.
That's true.
You don't need to do that, especially if they have a lead in the series like they do, that like they most likely will by that point. Who knows? They might not have to go there. I think that both teams are keeping it open because, again, this is it, right?
Right.
Like, guys have to dig down deep. They have to pitch on short rest. They have to do things to give the team the best chance to win. And if Tori or Rob Thompson believe that is the best chance to win, then I could see them going to either one of those guys early or on short rest. It's definitely not the game plan. And again, now with Philly winning this game, I mean, they won't have their back against the wall by game 4, so they won't have to necessarily do that. But the Diamondbacks might. And I mean, again, the way Gallen pitched tonight, I don't know if that's necessarily the answer either, right? But
true.
Geraldo Perdomo has some more on the team energy, and hopefully the vibes are still good for this team.
Yeah, like we've been having the same energy. It doesn't matter like if we down by 5, we prove in the 6th, like we come back, we score 2, we score 1 in the 7, we have a chance to tie it again, and like I say, it is what it is. It happens sometimes,
Do you think the runs you guys scored towards the end will help you going into tomorrow?
I think yes. Tomorrow will be a new day. Like I say, if we get our plan early, just get on base early, something can happen. Today, like I said, we didn't. We just get on base the leadoff batter Corbin, and we get on base again the 6th. So it was tough, but I think tomorrow will be a great game for us.
That's our king snake, baby. That's our king snake.
That's a response.
He just proved he earned the king snake with that response, because that got me fired up, man. And
that was that beat of like, hey, we lost that game. Cool. We feel really good about tomorrow. We feel really good about tomorrow.
It's not. I will say this: the one thing about this team is that they have experienced a lot of ups and downs this season, and I think that the one thing that has kept them successful has been being able to kind of ride those waves and know that they can still there's still a chance. There's still an opportunity to pull it out. I still feel like they've taken every game they've had to play for 2+ months now. I mean, we're going on 3 months now of having to play every single game like it is your final game of the season, and you are playing for the playoffs. You are playing for everything. You gotta treat it as that. But they also know that this is still a long series, and of course, you can't go into a place like Philadelphia, one of the most difficult environments to win a playoff game in, and expect to go there and just run over a team like the Phillies. They're just too good for that.
Mike Maddox, through his daughter on Twitter, I saw, basically said that, he's pitching coach here at the Texas Rangers, that he thinks teams like the Diamondbacks, those wild card teams, are so dangerous in the postseason because of the exact thing that you just said. They've been grinding away, which again can take a toll, but you know how to tap into that thing. And if you've been doing it, for 2 months straight, you're going to, be more than likely be able to literally tap into that kind of thing. Dodgers couldn't. They were off.
Yep.
There's something to that. So the Diamondbacks have that advantage. And man, Perdomo, upbeat. That was interesting to see kind of his response to it all. I mean, he hit a home run, so maybe he's just feeling good about himself. Ultimately,
I'm feeling a little good about myself because my pregame show parlay, I believe, hit. I need to go back and check the tape on that. We got 8 runs.
The Diamondbacks lost. You need to have one on BetMGM.
We got the strikeouts. We got the strikeouts from Wheeler. I think so. I don't know. Let's take a look. Oh, Gallen. Did Gallen get 4 or did he get 3? He just got 3, didn't he?
I think he got 4.
Did he get 4? Oh, I have it in my notes. What am I doing? Yes,
Gallen got 4.
Yeah, so that hit. So again, if you listen to me, there you go. You won yourself a plus 825 bet on that.
You're welcome.
Good
You're
stuff,
welcome.
Derek.
Perdomo Arigato.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Castellanos' home run. That's his 5th of this postseason. 5 in the last 3 games.
The man's
all of them before tonight were to left field. Obviously on the pull side, got that pull pop. This one was an Oppo Taco. Yep. Only the second player in postseason history with 5 home runs in 3 consecutive games. The other, of course, Reggie Jackson in the 1977 World Series, where he hit 3 home runs in a single game. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, again, get down on the BetMGM Sportsbook app. Make some money with us. If you have not signed up yet, place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through their mobile application, and you will get some free money. All you got to do is sign up through the app or through BetMGM.com. Sign up and deposit. Use our code of PHNX when you sign up and deposit $10 into your newly created account. Wager that amount of at least $10 at a standard odds price on a qualifying bet. Once you've done so, you will receive $200 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your wager. And again, that plus 825 hit. Let's get some money. Let's make some money. Sign up for BetMGM again and use that bonus code of PHNX. Once you place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through their BetMGM Sportsbook mobile application of at least $10, you will receive $200 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to our baby boy Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800 Colorado, DC, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in DC, New York, or Ontario.
Shout out to Kevin Haskey in the chat. He said, did I miss Jesse? Is Jesse drinking enough water? Jesse is going to be joining us right now, and I will be sure to make sure he's drinking enough water. Our pal Nicholas said, no Jesse yet. More worried about him surviving Philly than drinking water. I am not going to sleep tonight, Nicholas. Look, I've checked the hotel that he's staying at. I know how many stars it has. I've checked the surrounding areas. I'm making sure that he takes Lyfts or Ubers directly from the stadium back and forth to his hotel room. He's not to talk to any strangers, and he's definitely not to talk to any Phillies fans. But I do want to give a shout out to our guys at FOCO, by the way, for decorating our set, giving our guy JJ not only a wonderful hat, but also all sorts of company on our table here. They are a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise. And of course, they have your back as an Arizona sports fan when all of those other companies don't. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones you go to where they have 8 teams. They have that, championship belt in certain teams, but they don't have your team.
No.
Yeah.
They'll have the Tigers, and you go,
What? Yeah, the
8
Tigers.
teams, and one of them is the Tigers.
Kidding me? Oh
you
my
will not
God!
say that when it
Yeah,
comes to
that's
Foco.
exactly what I said the other
Tigers.
day. That's the exact team I said.
That
too.
was.
It's the exact team.
I was trying to come up with a different team.
No,
It's
that's
always the damn Tigers.
It's always the damn
kinda
Tigers.
is.
Yeah. But it does make Foco does make the best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms. It's baseball season, it's playoff season, so of course, make sure you're set. These little works of art are numbered, they're
really
limited
nice.
edition, they're incredible. So make sure to check them out. Of course, again, Foco always has our back for Arizona sports. They have yours too. Show them some love, get the best gear around by visiting foco.com and using code PHNX for all non-presale items. Use that code PHNX and you will get 10% off.
Ooh.
All right. Well, it's time. Got to check in with our guy. It is time to hear from the one and only Thunderstick, Patrick. Thunderstick, Jesse Friedman. Jesse, I was furious with him for screwing up your nickname. I don't go around giving nicknames like this just for people to screw them up when promoting their shows.
Look, my social media intern has already received hell for that. And don't make them feel even worse.
So many social media interns. It's crazy.
Don't make them feel bad.
Jesse,
wait, I'm unclear on this. What did Patrick think the nickname was?
Someone who manages one of my team said Boomstick, I think, perhaps, when you joined me earlier on the DNVR Rockies podcast.
Boomstick,
that
Jesse
sounds
Friedman.
That sounds like crossover marketing, and I wasn't intending to do that.
You know, you just can't happen.
Right.
It cannot happen.
Yeah, I'm furious. Jesse, I'm also terribly worried about you in Philadelphia. I'm glad the Phillies won just because I know that they will be kinder to you and I don't have to worry about you being identified as a D-backs beat writer on your way home to the hotel. But what's we saw Geraldo Perdomo say that the team energy was very high. He made us want to run through a brick wall over here. So what is the mood like in the clubhouse?
Yeah, I mean, as you'd expect, Diamondbacks very much dismissed any notion of not coming out with energy or being intimidated by the crowd or, if anything, Christian Walker said maybe they were trying to do a little bit too much out of the gate in this game. Yeah. Although ultimately they really just credited Zach Wheeler for just pitching a really, really good game. Geraldo Perdomo, I think, did the Diamondbacks an enormous favor. Obviously, the 2-run home run was big as far as the score goes. But I also think that 2-run homer is what knocked Zach Wheeler out of this game. Maybe he returns back for the 7th inning and the D-backs aren't able to put a dent into the Phillies' lead, if Wheeler is still in the game. So, I thought he was outstanding. Perdomo, you guys might have seen this. Perdomo talked about how it seemed like Wheeler attacked with his fastball a little bit more than the Diamondbacks have seen in the past. Specifically, his sinker was really, really effective in this game as a pitch that he would use, generally low and in to right-handed hitters. Got a number of different whiffs in this game on that specific pitch. But yeah, I mean, Wheeler was fantastic and Bryce Harper was fantastic. A lot of the star players that have made this Phillies team so good this season really showed up in this game. And, that's why the Diamondbacks ultimately lost.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, it seemed like the Phillies jumped all over Zac Gallen and his fastball. We showed Torrey talking about how they kind of ambushed him, but was it what, in your opinion? I know Zach said, talked about pitch selection versus like location, but it really looked like he wasn't locating his fastball well tonight, which is what ultimately led to all of that power being shown against him.
Yeah, he talked about that first pitch to Schwarber it was terrible, right? It was kind of middle in. It was exactly where you don't want to throw a fastball to, arguably the best home run hitter, at least one of the best home run hitters in baseball in Schwarber. So, Zach said, he kind of had a feeling that Schwarber would be looking to swing on the first pitch. And, maybe if that pitch had been on the outside corner of the plate where he was hoping it would be, then, potentially there's a different outcome there. He also talked about on the Nick Castellanos home run, that was a fastball on the outer part of the plate, maybe not quite, to the outer edge, quite as far to the outer edge as he would have liked. But he talked about the shape of the pitch not being quite as sharp as it's generally been. And I noticed that too. If you go back and look at, the fastball shape, specifically looking at the ride through the strike zone, it wasn't quite there with some of Zac Gallen's four-seamers early in this game. And, I think that was also a factor in some of the loud contact in this one against him.
Yeah, did you think at any point there early in the going that, there would be more of a quick hook for Gallen, or was it just a matter of, as Torrey said, he was just kind of grinding away, and that, maybe that would be better than depleting the bullpen a little bit, even if it meant depleting some of those lesser used guys, because hey, maybe Frias, Castro, and Nelson don't put up, a bunch of goose eggs that, they could just as easily squeeze a couple runs out of them as well.
Yeah, I mean, like just about everything else that Torrey has done in the postseason so far, the decisions he made in this game worked pretty well. Gallen, Phillies had a couple of opportunities to really blow this game open. They had bases loaded, one out at one point, grounded into an inning-ending double play. They had second and third, one out the next inning, didn't score in that one either. So, Gallen really kind of rode the high wire and was able to get out of some difficult spots. But
yes.
It was interesting. We've heard a lot from Torey Lovullo about how, in the postseason, it's different. It's about stopping momentum. It's about, being pretty aggressive. We've seen a very aggressive Torey Lovullo so far, and he wasn't really like that in this game. He let Zac Gallen try to work out of some of those situations. The D-backs, I don't think, really lost the game because of that. Most of that damage was done earlier in this one, and, the offense just wasn't able to do enough late to make a comeback.
There was a little chess move there in the seventh inning, of course. Pavin Smith
move,
right, brought in for Longoria. Okay. Thompson counters with Jose Alvarado. Then Torrey calls on Emmanuel Rivera. So just get a 6-3 ground out. That didn't work. Was there any discussion about that first inning where Corbin Carroll's on first base and he kind of stays put? The guys that were coming up right after him. First inning, you're trying to get into a groove there. They had really good numbers against Wheeler. Wheeler doesn't allow a lot of walks. Any issues, discrepancies there of, hey, maybe you should have sent him and then a base hit, gets the job done at some point?
The broadcast crew was furious that he wasn't going, by the way.
Yeah, I heard that. There was a rumor going around the press box.
Yeah, after one on-base appearance, they were like, what is this guy? Who is this Corbin? I thought this Corbin Carroll guy stole all the bases. What is he doing? It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a national broadcaster and you haven't seen a whole lot of the Diamondbacks this season, with what you've heard about Corbin Carroll's on-base ability, your assumption is just anytime he touches first base, he better be going within a pitch or two or something's gone seriously wrong.
He's just going to disappear and reappear on second base in like a magic trick. Wow, look at he's there, Yeah. No, he's
I kind of wondered as well if the Diamondbacks would send him there in that spot, but I mean, I don't think it really made a difference. The next three hitters were all retired in a row. Two of them struck out. Christian Walker grounded out.
15.
15 in a row to be precise. Were set down by Zach Wheeler in this game. He just pitched with his fastball, as we talked about earlier. His four-seamer and sinker just really had the Diamondbacks off balance, and he didn't really even need his breaking stuff at certain points in this game. The D-backs were just having a really hard time catching up. And, he was able to ride that to 6 innings and 2 runs and 8 strikeouts here tonight.
So, Jesse, we've had some Phillies fans in our chat tonight. They've been as nice as you probably imagine that they could be after a game like this. But our guy Tom wanted to know, where does the bank rank in your favorite ballparks?
Oh, man. I feel like I haven't been to enough at this point to really do justice to that question.
We've sent you to a lot, okay? We've sent you to a lot. But
I've been to a number this season, but I believe I've just been to all of the division stadiums plus Milwaukee plus now Philadelphia. I think that's the complete list. And to be fair, the NL West, at least in my opinion, again, I've been to some of the other stadiums around the league, but I think the NL West has about as good of a crop of baseball stadiums you're going to find in any division. I mean, Coors Field is outstanding, right? Petco is outstanding. Dodger Stadium, there's a lot of history there, even if it's maybe not quite as new and shiny as some of the others. Oracle Park blew my mind when I was there for the first time. So it's tough because I feel like, I haven't been to all that many. I think I've probably been to 11 or 12 at this point in my life. But the ones that I've been to are disproportionately all of the best ones. I've been to Wrigley Field, haven't been to Fenway yet, haven't been to PNC. I guess those would be the two kind of headliner ones that I haven't been to yet. But yeah, this one is up there for sure. I think it's probably behind. It's tough. It's probably behind Coors. I think it's got to be behind Petco. It's behind Oracle. I'm not sure if there's anything else that I would say would be in front of it. So maybe it's fourth right now out of the stadiums that I've been to.
You've been to a lot of good ones. NL Central is actually kind of sneaky.
Yeah.
Miller Park.
That's fair.
PNC.
PNC's huge.
PNC's
you got
great.
Wrigley. That one's kind of sneaky good. That makes a lot of sense.
We got Dr. Nighthawk, by the way, has had too much wine, and she said Too much wine thought. They call themselves Phillies fam, but the D-backs have fam. Mind blown. That's true. She also said she's been to 24 and it's underwhelming. And then she says, tell PHLY I said that. I don't care. She's been causing all sorts of trouble in our chat. We are so glad she's here, Jesse. But we did have one more video from you on Christian Walker and what you were describing earlier about the team's approach in regards to offensively against Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our intention is to win this series and go to the World Series. It's not a contempt, or complacent, like you said, just a happy to be here situation. It's, we're hungry. We're real hungry.
What's the feeling having Merrill tomorrow?
Yeah, same thing. A lot of confidence. Tomorrow's a new day. They were hot tonight. Their guys threw well, but turn the page, flush it, and we're gonna get Merrill some runs tomorrow.
The Diamondbacks have some incredible hats in the clubhouse, by the way. We got to address that for
It almost looked like Zac Gallen was wearing an Eagles wool cap.
Yeah,
it was very close.
Very close. But
very close.
Yeah, what are your thoughts here, Jesse, overall? I mean, obviously, we were discussing not panicking. It felt like this might have been a panic situation early on, and we even had some, replies, some Mailbag Monday questions that reflected that. But it really felt like the end result here is that it is a difficult environment to play. And the Diamondbacks did a pretty decent job of bouncing back from what looked like a disaster early on to make this at least a competitive game and build towards the rest of the series, which there's plenty of baseball still left to play.
Yeah, I mean, this is, the D-backs have played a 3-game series and a 5-game series. A 7-game series is really freaking long,
Yeah.
I mean, the Phillies have to win 3 more baseball games in order to close this out. The D-backs have to win 4, before the Phillies win 3 in order to win the series. So, yeah, I mean, this is just 1 game out of 7. If the D-backs come out and win tomorrow, then, suddenly you have a pretty favorable outlook on what happened here in Philadelphia in these first couple games. I do think tomorrow is really important, though. I do want to stress that. I mean, you've got Merrill Kelly on the mound. He's your guy. He's your number 2 starter on your number 1B starter really on this team. D-backs would be in a pretty precarious position if they were coming back to Chase Field down 2-0. With Brandon Pfaadt, and then maybe looking at a bullpen game of some sort in Game 4. That would be a really hard position for them to be in. So. Yeah, I think tomorrow is really, really important, but, ultimately the D-backs played a really competitive game. I mean, they had the tying run of the plate multiple times toward the end. They really fought in this one, and, a lot of guys talked about the positive momentum that they can carry into tomorrow. So, we'll have to see how it turns out for them.
I'm curious about late in the ball game. There were a couple opportunities. Diamondbacks came to the plate. Tying run came to the plate. Did you get any sense that maybe there was some momentum shift, that you could feel a little, anxiety exuding from the pores, amongst other things, from the faithful there at Citizens Bank Park, that, hey, maybe something can happen. Maybe Gurriel can run into one late in the game. Did it seem like maybe at least there was that chance?
Yeah, I mean, this bullpen is really, really good, right? I mean, for as great as Zach Wheeler, was in the regular season and has been in the playoffs, like this Phillies bullpen has been lights out. And, even though the D-backs didn't do a ton of damage, didn't wind up doing enough damage to ultimately turn this one in their favor, they very much made, these elite back-end Phillies relievers look very human. I don't think Alvarado totally dominated the Diamondbacks. There was some hard contact there. Think of Tommy Pham. I think his line drive that ended that final inning that Alvarado pitched. I think that was like 108 miles an hour off the bat or something like that. And even Craig Kimbrell in the 9th inning. We've seen the Diamondbacks get to Craig Kimbrell before. He's obviously been in the league for a really, really long time. So, yeah, it was kind of a hard hit ball there for Gurriel. Unfortunately for the D-backs, it turned into a double play. But I think the D-backs, showed that they can hold their own against some of these really tough Phillies relievers.
I want to appreciate the fact that the chat has completely turned to cheesesteak talk.
It was ballpark talk for like 5 minutes.
It was ballpark talk, and now we've just gone completely to cheesesteak talk. I will say there's questions. Spiral Out, obviously a Phillies fan. He knows his stuff. He says, don't go to Pat's or Gino's.
No.
Tourist Traps, John's Roast Pork, Angelo's, or Ishka Bibbles have some of the best cheesesteaks. Yep. I went to Max's Steaks on Germantown Avenue in Philadelphia, and it was incredible. And that was where somebody took me. Megaran, of course, Philadelphia native, who I'm not talking to right now. We are not, we are not friends during this series, just like I'm not friends with most people from Philadelphia. But Jesse, I am still friends with you. I'm still worried about you all the time. So we look forward to you once again being the voice of reason around here. Even with Patrick gets me all riled up. He's like
a little bit.
Yeah, he's like the kid that gets the dog all riled up before, before bed or whatever. But
or the guy that talks too loud when, like, I don't know, your brother's trying to sleep upstairs and you go,
yeah.
hey, can you guys keep it down a little bit? To use a random example of something.
That's a guest at his house reference, I'm guessing, right
just,
there.
Just
no,
all right.
Well,
hey, look, everybody wants to know. So give the people what they want. Have you had a cheesesteak yet in Philadelphia?
Yes.
I have had a cheesesteak in Philadelphia. Yes.
That a boy.
It was. I feel like I should have the picture ready to go here. Yeah. I think it was good, but at this, like, I don't know. I feel like I've had some decent cheesesteaks in my life in various places, and this was definitely one of the better ones. I wouldn't say honestly that it like, oh my gosh, like my life has changed forever. This cheesesteak is
but it was a
better than
diner,
anything I've
though.
ever had.
It was
just the diner across the street from my hotel.
That's where you're going to find the best ones in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, the airport shuttle driver told me that was like a pretty famous diner, like a pretty solid spot to go to. So yeah, it was good. I mean, I did it like Grubhub style. It was pickup, it wasn't delivery, but it maybe wasn't quite.
Wait, it was pickup? You walked over there? Oh no. No going outside of the hotel. No, everything needs to be Grubhub.
I jaywalked going across the street, Derek. You would have been terrified.
Look at you. You're just a native now.
If the only way you could top that is if you got a nice hot pretzel inside of a shopping cart.
Ooh.
This is also a big thing in
that's a big Philly. That's a big Philly thing.
Don't listen to him. I don't want you doing any of these things. Yeah, I don't want you doing any of these
shopping carts. They heat up real nice, and their pretzels are on point. Trust me.
Jesse, we will see you tomorrow, but we appreciate you once again, and hopefully, like Perdomo said, they come out and have a great day tomorrow.
All right, guys. I'll see you.
All right, see you, sir. All right. Well, that was absolutely worth it just to know that Jesse had a cheesecake. Yeah, and that he's okay. But
we don't know if he's drinking enough water. We know he's eating enough cheesesteak.
He's definitely not. But what we do know is no matter win or lose tonight, the D-backs are still a goddamn dangerous team. We're a fucking dangerous team. Get the fucking dangerous shirt right now over at the PHNXLocker.com. Of course, if you are a diehard, you will get 20% off all those purchases at the PHNXLocker.com. If you are not a diehard, you can get your membership today over at GoPHNX.com. You will get a free shirt from the PHNXLocker.com. You can grab this brand new release or this wagon shirt I'm wearing tonight or any shirt from the PHNX Locker. And you get all sorts of those wonderful benefits, too, that comes with being a diehard member. So, of course, we thank you guys so much for joining us. All of you, all of the Phillies fans, all of the D-backs fans. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys for loving baseball. And we are excited for this series. Someone had to win tonight. And at the end of the day, I know it didn't look great to start out, but the Diamondbacks battled back, and at least we'll see how Game 2 goes. But I think it's going to be very important for the Diamondbacks to win. Also, make sure to join us if you can on Saturday, October 21st, for the Out of Darkness Walk. We are joining thousands of teams across the country for a community walk. It's an event co-chaired by one of our very own PHNX diehards that raises money for suicide prevention programs, unites those that have been affected by suicide, and helps create communities that are smart about mental health. I know we have all been affected at some point in our lives, and if you haven't, I consider yourself lucky. But I've talked about my cousin who I've lost, and I know a lot of us have lost loved ones, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. So you can join us for the Out of Darkness Walk in person at Salt River Fields, at Talking Stick at 9 a.m. on the 21st, or show your support virtually. Join Team PHNX by hitting the link in our description and help us hit our fundraising goal if you are able to. So we appreciate that support. And again, also, if you can't even donate anything, you can at least join the team. Yeah. We would love the support of getting as many of our diehards and as many of our friends on that team as we possibly can. Yeah. But again, we thank you guys so much for joining us. On behalf of everyone here, we appreciate your time. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at @cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. This maniac next to me is at Patrick D. Lyons. Of course, the people's producer, Damon. He is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are Damon's dogs.
Arf, arf, arf.
I want a bigger.
Woof.
Okay, thank you.
But he's an arf guy.
Yeah,
He already said he's an
arf guy. I know. I'm supposed to respect that, but I can't. I miss Sean sometimes.
All people are beautiful, Derek. All people come in different shapes, sizes.
That's fine. You're right.
Speak different languages.
Yeah. All right. But of course, our show's at PHNX _D-backs, and all roads do lead to at PHNX _sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you guys again for your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's way more fun when you're not playing the Phillies.
We all silly like the mayor.